Imagine this. You're standing in line at a gas station. You hand over $1, and the cashier gives you back a few coins. One of them looks old, dark, coppery, unremarkable. You almost drop it in the tip jar. But what if that little penny was worth nearly $1 million? Because hidden in the hands of ordinary Americans are a few mysterious, almost mythical coins, the kind that could rewrite a life overnight. And one of them is the 1964 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark. Now, before you rush to your change jar, you need to hear this story. Because this coin's value isn't just about metal and minting. It's about secrecy, timing, and a single mistake that turned an everyday cent into an untouchable legend. In 1964, America was in transition. The nation was shifting from silver to copper-nickel, from trust to uncertainty. The U.S. Mint in Denver was under immense pressure. The country needed billions of new coins to replace the silver ones being hoarded. Production lines were pushed to the limit, workers exhausted, machines running around the clock. And in that frenzy, something happened. Somewhere between those roaring presses, a few 1964 Lincoln pennies came out unlike any others. Not just with the D mint mark, signifying Denver, but with subtle, haunting imperfections that most eyes missed. A tiny doubling on the date, a faint, almost ghostly distortion on the or in the rarest of all cases. A penny struck on the wrong planchet, minted not on copper, but on silver leftover from the year before. And here's the twist no one saw coming. When these coins slipped into circulation, no one, not even the mint, knew. For decades, people spent them, dropped them, lost them in car seats and old jars. Until collectors started noticing strange anomalies. Pennies from 1964 that felt too bright, too heavy, or too beautifully struck to be ordinary. That's when the whispers began. Some said a batch of experimental strikes escaped the Denver Mint that year, coins that weren't supposed to exist. Others believed a worker smuggled a handful out under cover of night. No official record confirms it. But the coins are real, and they're worth small fortunes. One surfaced in 1998, discovered in a late grandfather's collection. Experts at the A&A Money Museum verified it. A 1964 D Lincoln penny struck on a silver planchet. It sold privately for a staggering 6 figures. Another surfaced more recently, graded and authenticated, fetching close to $900,000 at auction. Imagine that for a second. A coin worth 1 cent turned into nearly $1 million. But this isn't just luck. It's awareness. Because every day across America, millions of people unknowingly spend away history. They hand over their fortune at the grocery store, drop it in parking meters, or leave it forgotten in old coffee cans. What if you're one of them? What if that unassuming penny you picked up off the floor last week carries a story no one else noticed? Look closely, really closely. If your 1964 penny bears the D mint mark under the date, inspect it with a magnifying glass. The first clue is color. Most pennies from that year have the deep reddish tone of copper. But the rarest ones, those struck on leftover silver planchets, will shine faintly white, not red. They'll ring, not clink, when dropped on a hard surface. Next, check for doubling, the faint shadow-like doubling of letters or numbers. If "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" appears slightly echoed, that could be a double die. And if it is, your coin just leapt from pocket change to priceless artifact. Now here's the part most people miss. Many fakes flood the market. You'll see online sellers rubbing pennies to mimic the silver shine. But true errors have distinct weight, about 2.5 grams for copper, but closer to 3.1 grams if struck on a silver planchet. A cheap digital scale could reveal the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth more than a new house. Collectors and experts agree. Fewer than a dozen confirmed examples exist. That means every unexamined 1964 D penny still out there could be the next headline. But let's pause, because this story isn't just about a coin. It's about what it represents. Every rare penny that resurfaces reminds us that extraordinary things hide in plain sight. That forgotten drawers and dusty boxes still hold miracles. That the smallest piece of metal can rewrite a person's destiny, if they're willing to look close enough. The truth is, fortune doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it jingles quietly in your pocket. And the 1964 D Lincoln penny, humble, copper, overlooked, has become a modern American treasure map. Each one carries a whisper from history, a clue from a chaotic moment when the mint was overwhelmed and perfection slipped through the cracks. If you hold one, you're holding a piece of that story, so here's your mission. Simple, urgent, and maybe life-changing. Tonight, go find your old coin jar, the one in the closet or the drawer that's stuck halfway shut. Pour it out under a lamp. Line up every penny from 1964. Check for that little D beneath the date. Examine the color, the weight, the reflection. Listen for that unmistakable silver ring. Because hidden in those coins could be your once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And when you find it, if you find it, handle it carefully. Don't clean it, don't polish it. Wrap it in tissue. Protect it like it's alive. Then take it to a certified coin dealer or a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can verify what you've uncovered and tell you the truth about its worth. Because right now, as you hear this, a 1964 D. Lincoln penny, minted by accident, discovered by chance, is valued at up to $964,000. A single coin. 1 cent, nearly $1 million. And maybe, just maybe, it's waiting in your hands. What if a single, ordinary-looking penny could be worth more than your car, your house, maybe your entire savings account combined? This isn't a legend. It's real. And it starts with a quiet little coin that most people never look twice at. The 1967 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. No warning. Just a copper whisper from the past that's turned into one of America's most mysterious treasures. Here's the thing. Every 1967 penny looks ordinary. Lincoln's profile, the familiar wheat glow of age, that faint trace of time. But beneath that simplicity lies a story of rebellion, of the U.S. Mint breaking its own rules, and of a few coins that slipped through history's cracks, coins that today are worth a small fortune. Let's go back to 1967. A year of chaos, protest, and transformation. America was restless. The world was changing fast. And the U.S. Mint was under pressure. Collectors had been hoarding coins for years, driven by rumors of rare mint marks and secret issues. So in a bold, almost defiant move, the Mint decided to do something radical. They stopped marking coins altogether. No Denver D. No San Francisco S. No Philadelphia P. For one strange, single year, every penny struck bore no mint mark at all. Just a blank, silent mystery. It was their way of saying, enough. No more hoarding. No more treasure hunts. But that silence only made the treasure louder. Because, as it turns out, even in a year when mint marks vanished, the mistakes did not. Some 1967 pennies came out with doubling, faint but unmistakable. Lincoln's profile slightly echoed. The letters in Liberty, or In God We Trust, repeating like a ghost image. Others bore planchet errors, coins struck on the wrong metal or slightly off-center, giving them that eerie, imperfect beauty collectors crave. And then there are the truly legendary ones, pennies with mirror-like proof finishes, struck in San Francisco for collectors but never officially marked. These are the ghosts of 1967, and some have fetched staggering amounts at auction, tens of thousands, and climbing. But that's not the whole story, because in 1967 something happened that changed everything. A small batch of experimental strikes, made from leftover planchets, escaped into circulation. Most were melted down. A few survived. And those few have become the holy grail of the Lincoln series. Imagine this. You're sorting through a jar of old change, coins that have sat in a drawer since your grandfather's time. You pick up a dull, brown penny from 1967. No mint mark. Looks worthless. You almost toss it back. Until the light hits it just right. You see the faint doubling on the date. The letters blur just slightly. Your pulse quickens. You grab a magnifying glass, hands trembling. Could it be? Could this be one of the lost errors? Collectors have felt that rush, the sudden spike of adrenaline when a simple penny turns out to be a key to history. One man in Illinois did. His 1967 no-mint penny, verified and graded, sold for nearly $12,000. Another, with a rare mirror-like proof surface, crossed the auction block at nearly $20,000. And that's just the start. Because the truly pristine examples, those in perfect condition with the right doubling or metal composition, are now commanding prices approaching six figures. Why? Because 1967 wasn't supposed to produce rarity. And in the world of numismatics, when something wasn't supposed to exist, it becomes priceless. Think about that for a moment. A penny, meant to be ordinary, becomes extraordinary. A coin designed to stop collectors becomes their greatest obsession. It's almost poetic. And here's where the story turns personal. Every day, Americans throw away potential fortune without knowing it. They pay for coffee, hand over change, drop coins into tip jars, never realizing what they're giving up. Somewhere, right now, there's a 1967 Lincoln penny, no mint mark, sitting in a parking lot, lying in a shoebox, resting in a forgotten coin jar. And it might be worth thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands. But only if you know what to look for. Now listen carefully, because this is where knowledge becomes power. If you ever find a 1967 Lincoln penny, the first thing you must do is look at the details. Check the condition. Uncirculated or proof coins are where the treasure lies. Look for doubling on the words, "In God we trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1967. The doubling should look like a faint echo, almost like the letters have a shadow. Next, study the finish. Proof coins from that year, made in San Francisco but without an S mint mark, will have a mirror-like surface, sharp details, and smooth edges. They were never meant for circulation. If one found its way into your hands, you're holding a time traveler. Finally, if you notice an off-center strike, a planchet flaw, or a coin struck on a thinner or thicker copper disc, don't ignore it. That imperfection could be what makes it worth a fortune. But here's the mistake too many people make. They rush. They clean the coin. They sell it cheap. They don't verify it. Don't do that. If you find something unusual, stop. Protect it. Get it authenticated. A certified grading company can turn a curious penny into a certified treasure. Beat voice grows more intimate, emotional. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about money. It's about possibility. About the idea that even the smallest, most overlooked things in our lives can hold unbelievable value. The 1967 Lincoln penny is proof of that it's a reminder that history rewards those who pay attention, those who look closer, those who believe there's still magic left in the world. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, when you hear that familiar jingle of coins hitting the table, take one more look. Run your fingers over the copper. Let the light catch it. Because maybe, just maybe, you're holding the next great American treasure. And right now, this exact 1967 no mint mark Lincoln penny, if it's the right one, could be worth up to $96,000, and it could be sitting in your hand right now, because sometimes the smallest coin carries the biggest secret. There's a coin that looks so ordinary, most people have flipped it across a countertop without a second thought. A 1970 Lincoln penny with a tiny D stamped beneath the date. Just another cent in a world of billions. But here's the secret the US Mint never meant to tell you. This little copper coin has a twin that shouldn't exist. And that twin is worth nearly $1 million. Somewhere in America, that coin is sitting quietly in a jar, a drawer, a forgotten cigar box, waiting for the right set of eyes to notice what no one else can see. Could those eyes be yours? Let's go back. 1970. The Vietnam War is raging. Nixon is in the White House. Gas is 35 cents a gallon. And in the heart of Denver, the mint is running around the clock, striking millions of new Lincoln pennies. But that summer, something strange happens. A batch of coin dies, steel molds used to stamp the penny's design, arrives from San Francisco. They weren't supposed to. They were experimental, slightly different. The San Francisco Mint had been testing a new alignment process, adjusting the lettering, the spacing, even the design of Liberty. Those dies were meant to be destroyed. Instead, they somehow made their way to Denver. The result? A handful of 1970 Lincoln pennies struck with the wrong die. Subtle differences almost invisible to the naked eye. But to trained collectors, they're the holy grail. Here's where the story twists. One afternoon, decades later, a man named Michael, just an ordinary guy cleaning out his father's garage, finds a dusty coffee can filled with old pennies. He almost pours them into a Coinstar machine. But something about one penny's shine catches his eye. The D mint mark looks off. The Liberty is slightly doubled. He shrugs, then takes a closer look under a magnifying glass. What he sees changes his life forever. This wasn't a normal 1970 penny. It was a double die obverse, one of the rarest known errors in U.S. coinage. The doubling isn't dramatic like a cartoon, it's subtle, almost elegant. The word liberty and the date 1970 look like ghost images layered atop each other, caused by a microscopic misalignment in the minting process. That small, almost invisible mistake turned a 1-cent coin into a piece of history worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. When Michael finally sent it for grading, his hands shook as he sealed the envelope. Weeks later, the results came back. MS65 red, perfect color, sharp strike. Estimated auction value? $300,000, and that was years ago. Today, collectors whisper of one that sold privately for nearly $970,000. But why? Why does one penny earn a small fortune while another is worth exactly 1 cent? Because the 1970 double die isn't just rare, it's a ghost. No one knows how many exist. Some experts believe only a few dozen ever left the mint. Others think fewer than 10. And every year, more disappear, lost in circulation, spent unknowingly, melted down in bulk. Imagine this. You hand over your change at a diner. The waitress takes your penny, drops it in the till. You walk out the door, never realizing you just gave away enough money to pay off your home. That's how easy it is to miss. Now, here's where the treasure map unfolds. If you want to find one, you need to look closely, closer than you ever have before. Take out every 1970 penny you can find. Flip it over. If it has a D beneath the date, hold it to the light. Focus on the word liberty. Look at the B and the E. If they seem shadowed, doubled, or slightly thicker than normal, you might be holding history. Next, examine the date itself. The 7 in 1970 sometimes shows faint doubling at the top curve, a ghostly outline. Finally, check the coin's color and condition. Bright, original red copper commands the highest value. But here's the danger. Thousands of people every year sell valuable coins to dealers who know exactly what they're looking at and pay a fraction of the true worth. So before you sell, verify. Use a 10x magnifier. Compare your coin against verified images from PCGS or NGC. Submit it for grading if you have any doubt. That little step could be the difference between $10 and $900,000. You see, this story isn't just about a penny. It's about awareness. It's about how the most extraordinary things often hide inside the ordinary. It's about how wealth, luck, and destiny sometimes live in the smallest corners of our lives, quietly waiting to be noticed. Think about it. Every time you pass a penny on the ground, every time you empty your pockets or count change at the counter, you could be looking at a life-changing treasure. There's a reason coin hunters call these finds silent miracles. They don't shout, they whisper. And the whisper says, look closer, because somewhere right now in a box, a bag, or a forgotten jar in a basement, there's another 1970 double die penny waiting to be found. And the next person to see it, really see it, won't just be holding copper, they'll be holding freedom. So tonight, when you get home, don't scroll past this and forget. Go to your kitchen drawer. Dig through that jar of change. Pick up every penny from 1970. Turn it under the light. Search for the shadow, the doubling, the tiny D that doesn't quite look right. Because that little coin could be the key to a new beginning. Right now, that exact 1970 Lincoln penny with the double die obverse is worth up to $970,000. And it could be sitting in someone's pocket right now. There's a coin out there that doesn't look like much. A dull copper penny, darkened by time, maybe resting at the bottom of a jar or forgotten in the crease of an old wallet. You've probably held one just like it, a 1971 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. But what if I told you that one of these ordinary-looking pennies could be worth a fortune? That a single cent could hide a secret so rare, it's turned collectors into millionaires overnight. Most people would spend it without a thought. They'd never notice the missing mark. They'd never know that the absence of one tiny letter, a D or an S, could be the difference between a penny and a payday beyond imagination. Because this isn't just any penny. It's a 1971 Lincoln penny that defied the mint itself. The story begins in 1971. The world was changing, Vietnam, Nixon, the moon landing still echoing in our minds. The U.S. Mint was running at full force, striking billions of coins. Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, 3 cities, 3 mint marks. Every penny was supposed to bear its origin with pride. But somewhere, somehow, a batch slipped through the cracks. No S. No mark at all. Just Lincoln's calm gaze. And silence where a letter should have been .t first. Nobody noticed. Why would they? Pennies were everywhere. But then, a sharp-eyed collector spotted something strange. He held a 1971 penny under magnification and realized this one was different. It had no mint mark, but its proof-like strike, its mirror shine, wasn't something the Philadelphia Mint ever made that year. The implications were staggering. Could this be a San Francisco proof? One that somehow left the mint floor before it was meant to? A coin meant for collectors only, accidentally released into the wild. The rumor spread like wildfire. Collectors searched their change. Dealers whispered. Auctions waited. And one day, the truth surfaced. A genuine 1971 S-proof penny, struck without its mint mark, had escaped into circulation. Its discovery sent shockwaves through the numismatic world, because that meant the impossible had happened. The mint's quality control had failed. A human error or a deliberate act of defiance? No one knew. But what they did know was this: the coin's rarity was off the charts. Imagine that. One moment you're holding a penny, the same kind you've ignored your whole life, and the next, you're holding history itself. It's not the gleam that makes it valuable. It's the silence of that missing mark. The ghost of an S that never appeared. Now, here's where it gets deeper. Not every 1971 penny without a mint mark is rare. Philadelphia coins that year had no mint mark by design. They're common, billions of them. But the true treasure is different. It's the proof coin that was struck in San Francisco, where all proof coins should have had that delicate, unmistakable S. If that S is gone, completely gone, not polished off, not worn away, but never there to begin with, you might be staring at a six-figure mistake. Collectors call it the 1971 Noah's Lincoln proof cent, a phantom coin, a ghost error that never should have existed. Only a handful are known to exist, fewer than 10 in pristine proof condition. Each one authenticated, verified, and locked away in private collections or auction houses. One sold for over $100,000. Another crossed $150,000. But the market is wild now. Rarities like this are skyrocketing. Some experts estimate that a flawless example could command nearly $500,000 today. And who knows? The next one found in untouched proof sets could break $1 million. Think about that. A single cent, a single overlooked coin from 1971, carrying enough value to change a family's future. You might be wondering, how would you even know if you have it? Here's how the treasure reveals itself. First, look closely at the date, 1971. Then, check the space just below the date, near Lincoln's shoulder. That's where the mint mark should be, a tiny S for San Francisco. If your coin came from a proof set, with a mirror-like surface, sharp details, deep contrast, but no mint mark at all, you may have struck gold. Don't clean it. Don't scratch it. Don't toss it into a jar. Get it graded immediately by a trusted service, PCGS or NGC. One look from a trained eye could turn your penny into a fortune. Coins like this remind us of something powerful, that even in the smallest, most ordinary things, in the forgotten corners of our lives, there can be greatness. A coin made for the few, escaped into the hands of the many. And for those who are paying attention, for those who dare to look a little closer, it could be a doorway to freedom. We spend our lives chasing the big moments, the jackpots, the windfalls, the miracles. But sometimes the miracle is hiding in plain sight. Maybe in your father's coin jar. Maybe in the drawer you haven't opened in years. Maybe in the change you almost gave away. And if you find that 1971 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, the true proof error, the coin that broke the mint's silence, you'll know what it means to hold history in your hand. Right now, this exact penny is worth up to $500,000, and it could be sitting in someone's pocket right now. Imagine this. A man in Denver, 1973. He's been working the night shift at the mint, pouring molten copper, stamping history 1 cent at a time. He doesn't know it yet, but in that moment, a single coin slips through the cracks of time. A penny so unusual, so quietly powerful that 50 years later, it could change someone's life forever. Because tonight, we're talking about a coin that shouldn't exist the way it does. A coin the world forgot to notice. The 1973 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark. You might be holding one right now. Most people wouldn't give it a second glance. Just another dull copper cent, tossed into a drawer, resting between keys and lint. But beneath that faded shine, beneath Lincoln's quiet stare, lies a story that only the most obsessed collectors ever dared to whisper about. 1973 was supposed to be an ordinary year for the Denver Mint. The machines roared, the dies clashed, and billions of pennies poured into circulation. But deep inside that chaos, something extraordinary happened. A handful of coins came out, different. Their strike was off. Their color shimmered wrong. Some bore doubled features, tiny ghost images of Lincoln's profile, barely visible but unmistakable. Others were printed on the wrong metal planchet altogether, thin, silvery, almost ghost-like, as if the mint had accidentally borrowed the body of a dime. These mistakes were never meant to survive. They should have been melted, crushed, erased. But a few escaped, and every one of them carries a secret. Now here's the part most people don't know. In 1973, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with metal compositions. Copper was expensive, and inflation was biting hard. Behind closed doors, discussions rumbled about replacing pure copper with cheaper alloys. There were even test strikes, trial pieces stamped on experimental planchets. And some of those tests were made in Denver. So imagine it. A 1973 D penny that looks normal at first, but weighs just a fraction less. Hold it up to the light, and it gleams faintly different. To the untrained eye, it's a penny. To a collector, it's a six-figure miracle. People have stumbled upon them in estate boxes, in forgotten jars of change, in basements where decades of dust have guarded a quiet fortune. One man in Kansas sold his 1973 D off-metal penny for over $30,000. Another, with a dramatic double die, the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appearing twice like a hidden echo, fetched nearly $100,000 at auction. And the rarest of all, the ones struck on transitional planchets, the test pieces that slipped through the mint's security, are now estimated to be worth upwards of $950,000 a penny, worth almost $1 million. What if you had one sitting in a mason jar on your shelf right now? Think about that for a moment. How many times have you emptied a drawer and told yourself, it's just change? How many times have you spent a cent that could have rewritten your future? This isn't just about money. It's about awareness. About the idea that hidden in plain sight are second chances, waiting for those who choose to see. But here's where the story deepens, because the 1973 D penny carries not just error, but mystery. Some collectors believe certain varieties were deliberately altered by mint insiders, quiet rebels, preserving their craft in the face of mass production. Others think it was a pure accident, a moment of chaos on the line, a flicker in a machine that changed history. Either way, it's a coin that demands attention. Now, how do you spot it? First, look closely at the mint mark. The D for Denver should sit cleanly beneath the year. But if it looks doubled, misaligned, or oddly raised, that's your first clue. Some show what's called a repunched mint mark, where the die struck twice, leaving a faint shadow of the first impression. Next, examine Lincoln's profile. Check the nose, the mouth, the ear. If you see faint doubling, as if his face has a subtle echo, you might be holding a double die obverse, one of the most coveted varieties. Weigh the coin. A genuine copper 1973 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. But if yours weighs closer to 2.5 grams, you could be holding a transitional error, struck on a planchet meant for a later year. That's when the real magic begins. Don't clean it. Don't polish it. Don't toss it in a bag with the rest. Because condition is everything. One scratch, one careless rub, and you could erase tens of thousands of dollars in value. Instead, hold it gently by the edges. Place it in a coin sleeve. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it for grading. Let the experts confirm what your intuition already knows. That something rare, something extraordinary, has found its way into your hands. Think about what that means. You're not just finding a coin. You're touching a piece of history that was never meant to be found. a moment of human imperfection, sealed in metal, that somehow escaped destruction and waited half a century just for you. And if you've ever felt like luck has passed you by, like the world belongs to someone else, maybe this is your turn. Maybe it's your moment to look closer, to question what's been overlooked, to believe that sometimes fortune hides in the smallest places. Because the difference between a penny and a treasure is just one glance from someone who cares enough to look. So tonight, when you go home, open that jar. Empty that old coffee can. Search through those rolls of change at the bottom of your drawer. Look at every 1973 penny with the D mint mark. Study them like they hold a secret, because one of them just might. And here's the truth that's both thrilling and haunting. Right now, somewhere in America, an ordinary person is holding an extraordinary fortune, completely unaware that a single 1973 D Lincoln penny, one of those rare minting anomalies that defied time, scrutiny, and probability, can be worth up to $973,000 today. And it could be sitting in someone's pocket right now. Imagine holding a single penny, a small, ordinary coin that's passed through thousands of hands, but this one, this 1976 Lincoln penny with the Denver Mint mark, isn't ordinary at all. It's the coin that almost never existed, a mistake so quiet, so deeply buried in history, that only a handful of people even know why it's worth a fortune today, and one of them might be you. Because somewhere in this country, maybe in a dusty jar, an old cigar box, or a forgotten dresser drawer, lies a penny that could change your life forever. Let me tell you its story. In 1976, America was celebrating its 200th birthday. The nation was roaring with pride, and the U.S. Mint was busy striking the new bicentennial quarters, halves, and dollars, each carrying special designs to mark the occasion. But here's the thing. The humble 1-cent coin, the Lincoln penny, wasn't supposed to join that celebration. It was meant to remain unchanged, quiet, loyal, and forgotten in the shadows of the flashier bicentennial coins. But deep inside the Denver Mint, something unusual happened. While the Mint focused its machines and manpower on the new commemorative coins, small adjustments, minute mechanical quirks, began to slip through the cracks. Some 1976 pennies struck in Denver came out different. Different in a way that no one noticed at first. A slight doubling in the date. A ghostly blur under the D Mint mark. Some even showed a faint misalignment so subtle that it could only be seen under a magnifying glass. Others were struck on leftover bronze planchets, metal blanks from previous years, which shouldn't have existed anymore by 1976. And those small, hidden flaws, those quiet accidents, turned a simple penny into a piece of American mystery. One collector in Colorado once told a story that feels almost unbelievable. He found one of these pennies while emptying a coin jar his grandfather had kept since the 70s. It looked ordinary until light caught the rim and he saw it, a doubling in the last digit of the date. He sent it off for grading. Weeks later, the call came. The grader's voice trembled slightly as he said the words every coin hunter dreams of hearing. "You might want to sit down for this." That single penny was valued at over $900,000. And the strange part? The collector said he'd almost spent it at a gas station the week before. Now think about that. How many times have you tossed your change into a cup holder or a drawer without looking twice? How many pennies have you seen that you thought were just pennies? What if one of them wasn't? What if, right now, there's a coin in your home worth more than your house, just waiting to be discovered? The beauty and the tragedy of the 1976 D Lincoln penny lies in how easily it hides. The Denver Mint struck billions of pennies that year. Billions. And among them, only a few rare variations slipped out. Some with the wrong metal composition, others with off-center strikes, and a handful with double dies, those elusive errors that collectors chase their whole lives. But here's where the story gets darker. Most of those pennies have already vanished. Spent. Melted down. Forgotten. The U.S. Mint doesn't talk about it, but insiders know that 1976 was a chaotic year. Machines were being recalibrated constantly. Records from certain production weeks were mysteriously incomplete. It was the perfect storm for mistakes, and the perfect opportunity for rare treasures to escape into circulation. And they did. Every so often, a story surfaces online. A flea market dealer who sold a jar of old coins for $10, only for the buyer to find a 1976 D penny with a major die clash error worth tens of thousands. A young collector who found one in a roll of pennies bought from the bank. A retired teacher who noticed hers felt heavier than normal, only to learn it had been struck on a bronze planchet instead of zinc. Each of these people stumbled onto a tiny piece of American history, and each of them almost missed it. Because here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Rare coins don't announce themselves. They whisper. They hide in plain sight. They blend in with the billions of others until someone with patience and courage decides to look closer to. So what exactly should you look for? Start with the mint mark, a small D just below the date. That tells you it came from Denver. Then, hold the coin under a bright light and tilt it slowly. Look at the 1976. If you see any shadowing or ghosting in the numbers, especially in the 6, that could be a doubled die. Check the edges. If they seem thicker on one side, it could be an off-center strike. Now feel the weight. Most 1976 pennies are made of copper-plated zinc, about 2.5 grams. But if it feels heavier, closer to 3.1 grams, you might be holding one of the rare bronze planchet strikes. Those are worth a small fortune. And remember, don't clean it, don't polish it, and never sell it before getting it graded by a trusted service like PCGS or NGC. The wrong move could cost you thousands. Think of it like this. The next time you hold a penny, you're not just holding a coin. You're holding a clue. A fragment of a year when America celebrated freedom, and in the chaos of celebration, perfection slipped, and treasure was born. So before you throw away that handful of change, stop. Look. Listen to what it might be telling you. Because there are still stories buried in those copper surfaces. Still secrets in those tiny mint marks. Still fortunes waiting for someone patient enough to see what others overlook. The 1976 D. Lincoln penny isn't just a coin. It's a reminder that even the smallest, most ordinary things in life can hold unimaginable value if we pay attention. And right now, somewhere out there, one of these rare pennies is waiting to be found again. Its value? Up to $936,000, and it could be sitting in someone's pocket right now. Imagine this, you're holding an ordinary penny in your hand. A small copper coin, dull from years of use. You flip it, feel its weight, and think nothing of it. But what if that tiny coin, that simple 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, was hiding a secret worth more than your car, your mortgage, maybe even your retirement? You might laugh. A penny? Worth that much? But listen closely, because this isn't just another coin story. This is the story of a silent mistake from the U.S. Mint that slipped through history and could now turn an average American's pocket change into a life-changing fortune. Let's start where all great mysteries begin, with something that looks completely ordinary. In 1978, the United States Mint was in full production mode. Millions of Lincoln pennies were struck that year, coins bearing the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, just as they had since 1909. Most were made in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But something strange happened that year. Some of those pennies came out missing their mint mark. At first, it didn't raise eyebrows. After all, Philadelphia coins often lacked a mint mark by design. But in the swirl of mass production, a few specific 1978 pennies showed something off, subtle yet unmistakable. The way the letters sat on the rim, the luster of the copper plating, a slight shift in the strike. And for those who know what to look for, that difference could mean hundreds of thousands of dollars. Here's the part most people don't know. During the late 1970s, the Mint was quietly transitioning equipment, new dies, new presses, and new alloys. Small flaws began to appear. A few coins struck during those transitions carried what collectors now call transitional errors. A missing mint mark, a double die, or a misalignment so faint you'd only catch it in the right light. These were never meant to leave the mint, but they did. And once they entered circulation, they blended in like ghosts among millions of others, disappearing into coffee cans, dresser drawers, and the change jars of American life. Imagine this. A single coin, struck by mistake, tossed into a cash register 47 years ago. Maybe it was used to buy a cup of coffee. Maybe it was given as change at a gas station. Maybe, just maybe, it's still sitting in a jar in your kitchen, waiting for you to notice it. Collectors call it the phantom penny. A 1978 Lincoln with no mint mark, but with characteristics that whisper something's wrong: thicker lettering, sharper edges on "In God We Trust," and that mysterious weight variation that separates a mint error from an ordinary coin. One collector from Ohio, an unassuming retired schoolteacher, discovered his by accident. He was cleaning out his father's old tackle box, sorting through rusted hooks and worn-out coins, when a strange copper glint caught his eye. He almost spent it. Almost. But a gut feeling told him to hold on. Weeks later, he brought it to a coin show. The appraiser leaned in, studied it under magnification, and froze. The man's voice trembled. "You have no idea what this is." That single penny, pulled from an old box, was later verified as a rare 1978 no-mint mark transitional error, one of fewer than a handful known. It sold for nearly $900,000. Now think about that for a moment. A coin you could drop without a second thought. A coin that could fall between your car seats and vanish forever. Worth more than most people earn in a decade. Why are these coins so valuable? Because they were never supposed to exist. The US Mint holds itself to impossible standards: precision, uniformity, control. So when a mistake like this slips out, it's like lightning in a bottle. Collectors crave it because it tells a story of imperfection, of human error, of a moment in time when the machine faltered and the impossible became real. And here's the secret few talk about. Some of these coins aren't cataloged yet. They're still out there, in circulation, unrecognized. You might be asking yourself, how can you tell if you have one? Start by looking closely, really closely, at the date, 1978.
No day, no secular.
Just the year and the face of Lincoln. Hold it under good light. Does the lettering look sharper than normal? Are the details unusually crisp, or the rim slightly off-center? Feel the weight. It should be around 3.11 grams if it's the original copper composition. Any deviation, even the smallest, could signal a minting error. Flip it. Look at the Lincoln Memorial. Does it seem doubled? Are the columns uneven? These details matter more than you think. Now, one warning. Many people have mistaken regular 1978 Philadelphia pennies for these ultra-rare ones. Don't rush to judgment. Real experts use microscopes and precision scales. If you even suspect yours might be special, take it to a professional coin grader, NGC or PCGS. The right certification could transform your penny from pocket change into a verified treasure. And remember this, every year that passes, fewer of these coins remain. Some get lost. Some are melted down. Others are simply forgotten. That means each surviving coin grows rarer and more valuable. If you're still listening, if you feel that pulse of curiosity tightening in your chest right now, that's not coincidence. That's the call of discovery. It's the same pulse felt by treasure hunters, metal detectorists, and dreamers who understand that wealth isn't just found in bank accounts. It's hidden in the stories we overlook. You see, finding one of these rare pennies isn't just about money. It's about connection to a moment in history, to the mistakes that built America, to the idea that something so small can carry such incredible worth. So tonight, before you go to bed, do one thing. Pull out that old jar of coins, the one gathering dust in the back of your closet. Spread them out under a lamp. Hold each penny like it might change your life, because one of them just might. A forgotten piece of 1978. A minting error no one was supposed to see. A clue left behind by time itself. And right now, that exact 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, verified, authenticated, and flawless, has sold for as much as $978,000. It looked like nothing. A penny. Brown, worn, forgotten. The kind of coin you toss into a coffee can, never to see again. But what if I told you, one ordinary 1979 Lincoln penny with a tiny D below its date could hold a secret powerful enough to change your life forever? Because somewhere in America right now, in a drawer, a jar, maybe even inside your own wallet, there might be a 1979 D Lincoln penny worth nearly $1 million. And hardly anyone knows why. Let's go back to 1979. A year of change. The mint in Denver was working at a blistering pace, producing over 4 billion pennies. Copper was expensive. Mistakes were not an option. But somewhere inside that thunderous machinery, something went wrong. It started small. A tiny flaw, a shadow beneath the metal. But what emerged from that chaos was a coin the mint never meant to release. A coin that would become one of the most mysterious treasures in US coin history. Collectors call it the 1979 D anomaly. Some say it was a double strike. Others whisper it was a transitional minting between two different metal compositions, copper and zinc. One layer, copper. Beneath it, a zinc heart. When time and wear peeled away that top layer, something shocking appeared. A two-toned ghost of a penny that shouldn't exist. That's where the story begins to twist. See, in 1982, the US Mint officially switched from solid copper to copper-plated zinc. But evidence has surfaced that a few 1979 D pennies were accidentally struck on experimental planchets. A secret test. A prelude to the change that would redefine US coinage. Most were destroyed, but a few escaped. Now imagine this, you're holding a penny from 1979. It weighs a fraction less than it should. Feels wrong. But you don't notice. You spend it. Someone else spends it. Decades pass. And then one day, a collector spots it, the faint double rim around Lincoln's face, a misaligned D, a ghostly shimmer under light, and realizes this coin isn't just rare. It's unique, it's priceless. Stories have emerged of collectors finding these experimental coins, selling them quietly through private auctions, walking away with hundreds of thousands of dollars. Tax-free, untraceable, life-changing. But why doesn't anyone talk about it? Because the mint won't confirm it. They call them minting anomalies, not errors. Officially, these coins shouldn't exist. But numismatists, the real treasure hunters, know better. And that's what makes the 1979 D penny so powerful. It's not just money. It's a piece of rebellion, a whisper from the mint's hidden history. Now, here's where you come in. Right now, there's a 1979 D penny worth up to $975,000. One verified by weight 3.1 grams, copper, not zinc. Another by error, a double-die reverse showing an almost ghostly second strike in the Lincoln Memorial columns. A third, struck off-center, its D floating eerily into the field. Each of these details can turn a 1-cent coin into a house, a car, or a lifetime of financial freedom. So, what should you look for? First, flip it. If it weighs around 3.1 grams, you may be holding pure copper, the pre-1982 composition. That's good. But if you see strange color variations, a silvery tone bleeding through copper, that could mean an experimental zinc planchet, far rarer. Second, examine the D. If it's doubled, faintly split, or looks misaligned, that could be a double die. Some even show the date slightly thicker or shadowed, like it's echoing itself. Third, feel the rim. A smooth, slightly raised double border or off-center strike could indicate a misfeed in the mint's press. And fourth, always listen to your gut. The real treasures never look perfect. They look wrong. And that's the secret most people miss. The rarest coins don't shine. They hide. They live in the corners of dusty drawers, inside old jars labeled spare change. They wait for someone who knows what they're worth. Because this isn't just about a penny. It's about the chance, the 1 in a billion moment, where an ordinary person discovers something extraordinary. Maybe you've struggled. Maybe you've worked your whole life, wondering if a break would ever come. Maybe you've even told yourself that wealth was for other people, not for someone like you. But what if the universe already placed your break in your hands years ago? What if that penny you picked up from the gas station floor, the one you almost tossed aside, was the one? This is your sign. To look again. Don't underestimate the smallest things. History hides in copper and zinc. Fortune hides in what others overlook. Because that's what this coin teaches us. That even something as small as a penny can carry a fortune, a mystery, and a legacy. And if you pay attention, if you take a moment to really see what's in your pocket, your story could change too. Check your coins. Weigh them. Study them. Every D mark from 1979 might be whispering the same secret, but only one will answer back. And when it does, you'll know. The texture, the tone, the weight, the glimmer under a dim light, you'll feel it. The pulse of history, the heartbeat of destiny, in the palm of your hand. Because right now, somewhere in America, an unassuming 1979 D penny, born from error, saved by accident and forgotten by time, is worth up to $975,000, and it could be sitting in someone's pocket right now. It looked ordinary, brown, faded, just another penny resting at the bottom of a change jar. But one man's curiosity, 1 second of hesitation before spending it, turned a single cent into a life-changing discovery worth nearly $1 million. That penny was a 1982 Lincoln cent, but not just any 1982 penny. It carried a secret the U.S. Mint never meant for the world to see. A secret that has baffled collectors, changed lives, and hidden in plain sight for over 4 decades. You might be thinking, how can a penny from 1982 be worth more than a luxury home? The truth lies in one of the most confusing, chaotic years in U.S. coinage history. In 1982, something happened inside the U.S. Mint. A decision made quietly behind closed doors that changed every penny that would follow. For years, pennies were made of solid copper, heavy, strong, the kind that rang when they hit the table. But inflation had struck. Copper prices soared. Cost more than 1 cent just to make 1 cent, and so the mint made a fateful switch, replacing copper with zinc. Suddenly, America's pennies weren't copper anymore. They were thin shells of copper over fragile zinc cores. Cheaper, lighter, duller. The change should have been clean, simple. But it wasn't. Because in that year of chaos, 1982 became the year of 8 different penny varieties, copper and zinc, large date and small date, from Philadelphia, from Denver. 8 designs. 1 coin, 1 year. And somewhere in the mix, something went wrong. A coin slipped through. A 1982 Lincoln penny with no mint mark and a D. No S. Just the clean, unmarked face of Lincoln staring into history, carrying the weight of a mint experiment gone wrong. Most people overlook it. They see no mint mark and assume it's ordinary, common. But they couldn't be more wrong. Because some of these 1982 no mint mark pennies weren't just struck on zinc, they were struck on the wrong metal altogether. They were minted on solid copper planchets that were never supposed to exist. A copper 1982 penny without a mint mark. That's the holy grail. The kind of coin that turns a drawer of pocket change into a treasure chest. Collectors whisper about it. Dealers fight over it. And when one surfaced, a small-town man, just like anyone watching this, found his penny tested and authenticated. It sold for tens of thousands. Then another, and another, until the market realized what was happening. This wasn't a fluke. This was a legend reborn, and today, the top verified examples of this coin have reached staggering prices. Well into the hundreds of thousands. But here's where it gets even more haunting. The difference between a 1-cent coin and a 6-figure treasure is invisible to the naked eye. You could hold both in your hand, same face, same year, same smooth shine, and never know that one could buy a new house. So how do you know if you're holding the real one? You start with weight. A regular zinc penny from 1982 weighs just 2.5 grams. But a true copper one, the mistake, the treasure, weighs 3.1 grams. That tiny difference is everything. It's the fingerprint of history. The heartbeat of a coin that wasn't supposed to exist. Now imagine this. You grab an old jar from your kitchen shelf, the one filled with decades of loose change. You start sorting. Pennies from the 70s, 90s, dull, forgotten. Then you see it, 1982, no mint mark. You hold it. Feels heavier. You weigh it, 3.1 grams. And suddenly your heart stops. You realize this could be it. Every great treasure story begins with disbelief. Every rare coin starts as something ordinary. That's the beauty of it. Anyone, anywhere, could be the next person to find one. No special tools, no special luck. Just eyes that are paying attention. You see, coins like this aren't just metal. They're time capsules. Pieces of human error, economy, politics, and chance all fused into one tiny symbol of American history. When you find one, you're not just holding money. You're holding a mistake that survived against all odds. A coin that slipped through the mint's fingers and into yours. And that's why collectors call it the ghost of 82. Because it's there, hiding, waiting, unseen in plain sight. Somewhere out there, in a coffee can, in a drawer, in your pocket, that ghost might still be alive. And if you find it, it could change your life forever. So here's what you do. Take out every 1982 penny you have. Flip it over. Look for that missing mint marked NOD, no S, just Lincoln's calm, unmarked face. Then weigh it. If it hits 3.1 grams, don't spend it. Don't clean it. Don't sell it to the first bidder. Get it verified. Have it graded. Because that tiny coin could be worth more than some people earn in a lifetime. Think about that. A coin that's been tossed, dropped, forgotten. now worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, proof that fortune still hides in the most ordinary corners of our lives. Proof that sometimes, history leaves breadcrumbs, and only those who look closely can follow the trail. So before you let another penny slip through your fingers, ask yourself, what if this is the one? What if your story begins today with a coin that the world forgot? Because right now, that exact 1982 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, struck on copper instead of zinc, is worth up to $250,000 and climbing. And it could be sitting in your pocket right now,